In Pearl River. In a nutshell, I lived upstairs in a building that had a girl making meth downstairs for me. The defendant is not a government official. This was a state-funded housing program, nonprofit. They get enormous amounts of money. The landlord is not responsible for this because the landlord had no idea. The person who put this girl in the housing unit is by the name of Kelly Kohlbrenner, who's also a very cruel person, and she's trying to interfere with my medical care. Originally, what happened was the police came and they said it's a meth lab, and they started evacuating. And then another police officer came, who's Kelly's friend, and he said it was mothballs, and they changed the document in the paperwork, and they said it was safe. And that night that he told me it was safe, I almost died, and I went to the hospital the next day with deadly numbers of carbon monoxide poisoning and oxygen starvation in my blood to my heart and my vital organs. I also developed COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Not only is this a lawsuit worth a lot of money, this also deserves justice because I suffered life-threatening conditions. I was told that I was safe. I believed that I was safe. I didn't know about chemical poisoning. I didn't know it was so dangerous. When I got to the hospital, they said, "How come you didn't come sooner?" I said, "I didn't know it was so dangerous. I was having like a hypoxic reaction. My body was sweating. I was basically shutting down, and I don't know how I stayed alive." But Hatzalah said that it's not possible that I'm alive. Most people that survive carbon monoxide poisoning usually have short exposures. I had a long exposure, and actually there's not a lot of survivors of carbon monoxide poisoning that I'm aware of. So this story is interesting because a lot of the documentation has been falsified. Some people are saying, how is this possible? How does this woman have so much power? It's through this idea of manipulation and coercion and threats that I believe she's making up a story that there's some mafia gang involved, and she might even be saying things to the police officers to intimidate them, because individual police officers don't know about all the gangs in New York State or all over the place. And if she made up a lie, like something like, oh, there's a gang that even the police officers can't find or whatever, she could have made up any lie, or the police officer is just her friend, and they also benefit from the drug sales. I don't know. I do think that she is using the drugs herself, and maybe is benefiting from the drug sales. Sorry that I'm out of breath. The first question that an attorney asked me, who's a federal was a federal prosecutor, now retired. The first question he asked me on a 45-minute phone call was, who's benefiting from the drug sales? So that he said, when I said, well, the police covered it up, he wanted to know who's behind it. I said, I highly doubt it's the police. And I was correct. The police are not behind it. Orangetown is furious about this. They're horrified that this happened in their town in New York, in Pearl River, which is part of Orangetown. The town supervisor is the person that was helping me get breathing medications when Kelly would interfere with my medical care, because she does not approve of this behavior. No one approves of this behavior. The police misconduct is a lawsuit in itself. There's no police behind this that support this drug lab. The drug lab is dismantled. There's people in the family that were involved in doing these drugs that have been spent time in jail and died in jail of lung cancer. Okay, so if some police officers wanted to make a clandestine drug lab, okay, they're not gonna pick a residential house building in the middle of Pearl River in a state-funded program that gets government funds, that's nonprofit, to put a dangerous drug lab and into a residential building and have like a whole gang or mafia behind it. It's not possible. So this whole story that she's come up with, it's all not true. This woman operates through fear. She wants to scare you. The town is going to settle the case. If you're an attorney and you write a letter to the town that Sephora Miller had toxic chemical poisoning, you left them in danger. Your fire department lied. Your police officers lied. She developed COPD, and her conditions are serious and deadly, and they are. And I still have heart failure. They're going to settle the case because they don't want a court docket, which is a public information, saying that they left residents in danger in a building, okay? They don't want that. There's still residents living in this building. It has not been remediated. There's no possible way that they will want this in a public court docket. The town does not stand behind this. The police does not stand behind this. There's no mafia. There's no gangs. This is all a lie. It's a lie that the defendant made up to protect herself from liability and from not going to jail. Yes, it's true. She convinced police officers to lie. She also convinced a lot of my friends to lie and say things to me that I have psychiatric problems, or I'm delusional, or I made up this story, or it's not true. And all of my friends who told me that all know the truth. The truth is, I was exposed to toxic chemicals in a residential building in Pearl River where I lived, in a safe neighborhood with a nice landlord that I had no problems with for many, many years. And all of a sudden I got very sick and I was told that I'm safe. So that is the truth. What happened is this lady had her name on my medical chart. As far as I know, she might have been legally able to get away with being involved in my care in some instances because I was in a state-funded housing program which possibly required you to give permission in case of emergencies to make medical decisions for you, but not when you're capacitated and not when you have family that is your primary emergency contact. But it's possible she took this liberty and authority upon herself to say, well, I'm allowed to contact the doctors. And for several months, I didn't know that someone was contacting my doctors. I just knew that I wasn't getting health care that I needed and I was having trouble breathing. And as I was researching more about this condition and some of the tests that were like not making sense with my blood work and EKG tests and things that were little things that slipped through that showed that I don't have perfect lungs, despite the pulmonologist telling me I have perfect lungs. And I recorded the spirometry test and all these things. I started recording because I dated an attorney and I understood that it's important to have the proof, and that all these things are building up, and that the more lies that she says, the story's going to collapse. And the story's going to collapse as soon as I get the proof that my medical documentation has been forged and that they've been lying on my medical records. And I have some proof that there has been bogus charts made in my name, duplicate charts. One chart has the real records and one chart has the fake records. And the intention is that when somebody requests medical records, they're going to give them the fake records that somebody wrote the numbers themselves, which is not my real lab work, not my real x-rays, and not my real test results, okay? And that's called fraud. It's medical malpractice and it's fraud. And this is all true and will all be verified when we debunk this whole lie that I'm crazy and that this didn't happen. This is exactly what happened. And the story continues where the defendant interfered with my ability to obtain medications, which makes my condition worse and worse as we speak. My heart failure gets worse as we speak right now. I am high risk of a heart attack. As a matter of fact, one of my EKGs suggested that I already had a previous heart attack. And what that means is that you're prone to more heart attacks. And there's something called an ongoing heart attack, which means that as we speak, my heart muscle is dying and getting weaker. So it's harder for it to pump blood through my body. These are the vital organs to stay alive. And my pulmonologist, even the one that lied and said that I have perfect lungs, also did say to me that I need emergency cardiac care and he wants me to be seen immediately. He also said that my breathing problem is secondary to my heart problem, which means that the heart failure is more serious and blood is backing up into my lungs because the heart cannot circulate the blood, and it's causing me breathing problems, aside for the chemicals that also destroyed the lower part of the lungs where the oxygen exchanges with the carbon dioxide. So I have what's called air trapping. So the carbon dioxide gets trapped in the part of the lungs that can't exchange the air, and then the new oxygen that I breathe in has nowhere to go because the other oxygen is trapped, and then the new oxygen start to like just get stuck, and then I feel like something's stuck, and then I feel starved of oxygen, which I actually am, because there's no oxygen in the blood. There's no blood carrying oxygen circulating through my body, which are vital organs required to function and to stay alive. And this is my story. As the defendant realized that I was smart and that I understood, once I figured out that what's going on, she took more steps and further measures to prevent me from getting care and from getting representation, such as an attorney, which is a lawyer. Some people said, what's an attorney? A lawyer is someone who finished law school. An attorney is a lawyer who passed the boards, who passed the test to practice law. And any attorney who sees my medical records that show that I had serious chemical poisoning will understand the value of this case and can send a letter to the town and to the county, and they will likely settle this case with one letter. Now, this defendant is very sneaky, very desperate that I don't sue her, and very desperate that her lie doesn't get exposed. So what she tries to do is interrupt the process, and she might try to interrupt the process in many different ways, all because she's scared and embarrassed and ashamed of what she did, and also because she seeks power and control over the situation. She told people that she told to lie that she will cover it for them. I asked one of the people involved, I said, why are they covering this up? And they said they don't think they're going to get caught. So she promised to all these people that lied on her behalf that they're not going to get caught. So she owes all of them that they're not going to get caught. One doctor already is stepping down from her position. I found out when she told me she's leaving the practice. And this is the doctor that forged a medical record that never occurred, that I never did, and made a fake document that they accidentally gave me a copy of. And then I had it reported to the medical board. Now, is it possible that the defendant's going to call up the medical board with a sob story and say something to try to save this person's career? It's possible. And she might be able to convince them with her illogical threats, imagination, that and her coercion and persuasion tactics that she uses to hurt people. But, or maybe not. I don't know. I do not want this person to lose their job. I think they're a wonderful doctor, practitioner, and they prescribed me most of my breathing meds, which is how I'm basically probably alive right now. And this is the story. This continues the story. So if you're an attorney and you understand the value of this case, you can get my real medical record, my real x-ray. As soon as we have my real x-ray, all her lies are debunked. That's why she's trying so hard to follow me, hacking my phone, harassing me, telling people that I'm crazy. I do not have the ability to access my real x-ray right now. I can't go to another doctor. I can't go out of state. I can't go anywhere because she will follow me, and she has already done it, and it's been 8 months. So I don't need your ideas of go to a different doctor, get a different phone. She will hack my new phone. She will contact the people close to me to help get surveillance on me. And this is the way I know this is because it's been happening for 8 months. And the way that I know that she's still interfering with my medical care is because I still have been unable to receive care, and and doctors are discharging me and telling me that I have perfect lungs. You cannot have perfect lungs and have COPD. You cannot. Okay? A 5-year-old can figure that out. If you have lung disease, you cannot have perfect lungs. So one of those is contradicting. And I do not have perfect lungs. I have far from perfect lungs. I have damaged lungs that have permanent damage, and I take inhalers approximately 6 times a day, and I still feel short of breath at times, and I'm still limited in my abilities of what I'm able to do as far as exercise and cardiac activity. I happen to be lucky that I'm alive. I qualify for home oxygen, which has not been prescribed to me. These are very serious injuries. The defendant will contact you if she sees your number pop up on my phone and she thinks you're trying to help me, and she will put false threats into your head and say things like, police are behind it, this is so dangerous, you cannot help Tzipora because you'll be whatever threat she gives you, I don't know, but it's all not true. And she's just scared of a lawsuit. The county does not stand behind this. They fucked up, and they're aware of it, and they're embarrassed of it. The town supervisor is furious. When I told her what happened, she's an attorney. She was shaking her head. No. I just saw this part of her that I was like, wow. She was furious because her police department lied, and because they lied, her town can go bankrupt. This case is worth millions of dollars, and this is why the defendant is trying hard. I did not understand all these pieces the whole time. Things expose themselves slowly. I did not understand the severity of what she's possibly saying to people like you to make you scared to help me. There's no way in the world that a logical person that has a medical background or even doesn't have a medical background that will tell a person like me who was exposed to toxic inhalation that they're safe and that they don't have health problems. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible to jump into a river and to walk out dry. It's not possible. The river is wet. You walk out wet. It's not possible to breathe chemicals from a dangerous drug lab and carbon monoxide and come out healthy. It's not possible. Okay? So any doctor right now that tells me I have perfect lungs and perfect whatever other tests, it's not possible. And that's the proof that someone's interfering with my medical care. And to me, that's enough proof that there is a fraud, that there's lies, that there's somebody behind this stopping me from getting care. Not only does she do that, she harasses me in other areas of my life, such as my business, such as my friendships, such as family. She's trying to separate the family in very cruel ways my family never behaves. And they're all victims, and they're all suffering because she's telling them to do cruel things to me that they would never do. And they're listening to her. Why do they listen? Because she has this manipulative mind control thing. Think of it as hypnosis. Maybe she's using hypnosis on them, where she could get people to flip like a hamburger, to flip from their normal self to become a fake self. It's called pseudo-personality, and to act different than their normal personality, and to say that they were never told to do the thing that they were told to do. That is a factual trait of this type of abuse, that the people that come to me and say, nope, she never called me, nope, she never told me, nope, all of those people are the people that she called and that she contacted. And I can tell you for sure that she contacted every single one of you that she has access to through my Facebook and through my phone contacts and maybe through my Instagram, because she will try very, very hard to make sure that I don't get medical care. And she's doing that through my friends and through people close to me to tell me that I'm crazy and to tell me that this never happened. But they're not the ones having a hard time breathing. And they're not the ones traumatized that they were left in a building for many months and told they were safe, as they were getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. That psychological abuse on its own is worth a lot of money. And the fact that right now, every day that passes, I don't know which day I'm going to drop dead of heart failure or my heart stops beating or something, is also psychological abuse. It's scary. When I first got out of this drug lab, and I was told by the Hatzalah that it's not possible that I'm alive, and I didn't feel right. And the emergency room said, why didn't you come sooner? And I started looking up. Some of the blood work they gave me in the beginning was the truth. And it's so scary, the medical condition that I'm in. And every second I was thinking, which second am I going to drop dead? For 2 weeks I walked around thinking, like, which second is my life over? And I still live in that fear of, I don't know what's going to be in 2 weeks. I don't know what's going to be in 1 week. I don't know what's going to be tonight or tomorrow. I know that she wants to cause me harm, and that she will continue to cause me harm for as long as she's a free woman. She is a criminal. She interfered with my medical care, which is a felony. I had a temporary court order that I was able to obtain only through the help of the town supervisor, which is proof that this town does not approve of this behavior, and that was not enforced. And I do believe that there was ex parte communication, which means communication behind my back, between this person and the judge, which is why the order was not enforced. It was a temporary order, which means that I asked for immediate relief because of something that was immediate irreparable harm. I was unable to get legal representation because the defendant has contacts in the community from other nonprofits such as the Legal Society and Legal Aid. They pool the money of their grants. And if one of them loses money because of whatever the reason, which this agency is probably going to lose all their money, then other ones are affected. So not only does she like to have power and control, she also likes to push people down to make them helpless. And I said, somebody's responsible for this, and they're not taking accountability. I need to know who is responsible. And I started doing some research. I don't know if it's just in my strength of character or if it has to do with that I dated an attorney. It could be a combination. But someone is responsible and they need to be held accountable. This is not something that's going to go brush it under the rug and forget about it, okay? I've been suffering medical harm for many months. Multiple doctors have lied to me and discharged me in critical care from emergency departments, and I continue to suffer breathing problems, hardship in my personal life through interference and harassment, and inability to obtain medical care. And I'm being blocked from making reports to the police and to others because she hacked my phone, she follows where I go, and she interrupts my ability to try to get protection for myself by convincing and coercing individuals to listen to her. She is operating alone. She does not have a mafia. She's not a CIA. She's not FBI, and she doesn't have power. The only power that she has is her mouth, and her imagination is as big as the sky, which is endless. She will come up with lie after lie after lie, and we can debunk all her lies in half a second. All we need to do is show one medical chart is wrong with my true heart injuries and lung disease, which has been diagnosed. I just haven't been given the medical documentation. And that debunks all the lies of all the doctors and her lie. Her lie that this never happened. This did happen. Her lie is the building is safe. You cannot have a meth lab and be safe. You cannot. And how do you prove there was a meth lab? Because of my injuries. And because when I went to the hospital, they said that I had toxic effect of fumes. She told them not to diagnose me, at least on the paper that they gave me. But you don't need to have anything more than a toxic effect of fumes to explain that the reason I was in the hospital and the reason that I had those blood test results and all those things that were showing up was because I had a toxic effect of fumes. That was a diagnosis. And she realized that, and she's like, oh, no, we can't have that on the paperwork. So the next time, after a few times, she told them to write something about asthma symptoms or something. So she wants me not to have a diagnosis. However, it does say that I have COPD, which is a confirmed disease that it happens as a secondary cause of toxic exposure inhalation. Okay? People that were in 9/11 are still settling lawsuits for the exposure they had to the asbestos and things like that. These cases are worth a lot of money. They're easy to settle, especially in my case, especially because the county and the town is going to be very embarrassed that their own health department told me that I'm safe when they knew that I wasn't safe. And there's plenty of witnesses. You know who the witnesses are? The firefighters. Every single firefighter that showed up to those calls, and there were plenty of calls, every single one of them knows it was a meth lab, and every single one of them was told to remain quiet. There's also other witnesses, other people that were involved in covering up the odor by putting ozone in the building. There's also other witnesses, police officers. There's also other witnesses. There's other people in the building. Some of them might not say the full truth. They might be scared or they might be threatened. And they're not as sick as I am because they didn't live directly above the resident. And because I'm home a lot more. I run my own business. I do permanent makeup and beauty services. So I work from home a lot. And the other two people that live in the building are out of the house at least 9 to 5 and sometimes longer hours. So they got half of the exposure probably that I got because I'm not out of the house 9 to 5. I actually only out of the house when I have customers or clients, and that's not every day of the week. And even when it is even when it is a day, it's usually not even a full day. So the amount of time that I spent at home breathing these chemicals and carbon monoxide was much lengthier. And I was upstairs where the fumes rise, and it goes up through the ventilation system, and the other people were on the other side of the unit, so they still had exposure, but they weren't sharing the direct access to the ventilation system. I do believe there's some things that they probably share. I don't know how buildings are constructed, but they also had, the one downstairs had the door with fresh air closer to her, and she had more airflow. The other person I happen to know is out most of the day working. So these are things that make a difference in the fact that I got very sick and that they didn't. Okay? So this is my story. My case is worth a lot of money. My case will only be debunked when someone out there is willing to get me my true medical chart, which will have to be by going through someone that they might know personally, or a doctor. If they try to get it traditional ways, they might not get it. They need to get it from someone that they might know personally. They might need to establish me as a patient, and I give permission. I will give you all the release forms on the website link I'm attaching, and you can access my medical records that show that I had very high levels of carboxyhemoglobin, that show that I had deadly numbers of high blood pressure and heart failure, that show that also it will also show all the forged tests. Okay, it will show a lot of things that will be disgusting when you see them, and you'll be horrified just like I am. And it will also show fake documentation. And the defendant is going to get very angry. It's going to give you false threats to make you scared. None of it is true. And the minute that you have enough proof to go to law enforcement to show the fraud, she will be charged and arrested. She will go to jail. So she does not want to go to jail. She doesn't want to lose all her money from her drug sales. She doesn't want to lose her job. She doesn't want proof of what she did. She doesn't want the agency. I don't know if she cares about the agency or doesn't care about the agency, but she probably profits more than her little non-profit organization that she claims they have huge funding grants, huge, and talking about huge, like 5 million. They have huge amount of property that can be seized. All her assets can be seized. This is worth a lot of money, and this is a very easy case. The way that you debunk this whole case is through my medical tests. And as soon as you realize this is all fake, Any doctor can take my x-ray and give me the real test results, and they will likely put me into the ICU, and they will likely say that they're surprised that I'm still alive. And that won't happen when Kelly is still orchestrating my doctors and my medical chart, scaring them. She's scared. Emergency room after emergency room after emergency room doctor, probably 20 emergency room, or maybe I went to the same one multiple times, maybe in total 10 emergency rooms, but I've been seen multiple times in some of these emergency rooms, okay? And they all have my true medical records. So any new doctor that I go to right now is able to pull my records, and they're going to try to do fraud. There's going to be a lot of sneaky stuff. You just have to use your lawyer brain, your attorney brain, or your Gemara cup brain and say, wait, this doesn't make sense, and put the pieces together to find the fraud and to get her charged. That's how simple this is. Why did it take this long? I think it took this long because I didn't understand the full picture of why all the people lying to me were actually lying to me. I knew people were lying to me, but I didn't know why. I didn't know they were actually scared. Someone threw out the idea in the past to me that maybe there's a gang involved or whatever, but I didn't believe that anybody would actually take that seriously. There's no gangs over here in Rockland County. There's no mafia. This doesn't exist. This is in old Italian movies. And, you know, police, we live in a civilized area. Police don't even allow abuse of a pet. They don't allow abuse of a human, of a person that's living in a building where there's residents that qualify for disability. They don't allow it. New York State does not allow it. Town of Clarkstown, town of Orangetown does not allow it. Rockland County does not allow it. I can guarantee. And if you want to find out for yourself, send them a letter for a settlement offer. She has interfered with trying to contact attorneys from the town and from the county, trying to use different ideas of persuading them for who knows what, I don't know. But as soon as law and order is restored, which will most likely only happen after she's charged, everything will fall into place. As soon as you contact me, if you want to help me, she will call you or email you or, I don't know, text you and tell you not to help me. And she's been 100% successful at scaring away attorneys, scaring doctors not to treat me. So you're going to have to be strong and rise above the pressure just like me and understand the whole story now that I'm explaining it to you a little bit better, now that I fully understand it. I didn't fully understand how much of a lie she's telling doctors, that doctors would refuse to treat me. But if she's telling doctors certain threats, doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor was willing to discharge me in critical care, refuse me antibiotic and medication, refuse to prescribe me breathing medications, delay my care and divert my care to psychiatric care, falsify blood pressure readings. Originally, they would be falsified by her using the wrong size cuff and putting the thing too loose on the wrong way, and the numbers were still deadly high numbers, not safe numbers. They were in the 150 over 110 range when they used the wrong size cuff and misplaced it to get the wrong reading. However, she has become smarter when I looked up on my phone on ChatGPT if there's other ways to forge these tests, because I needed to know if my tests were being taken accurately. And it says that blood pressure machines have to be calibrated to a certain thing. And from that moment on, every doctor that I went to, the machine was miscalibrated for my readings to look like healthy numbers. That is malpractice. That is medical interference. That is a felony. That means doctors should be losing their license. And that is also a very high value lawsuit. Okay? And those numbers that show that I have healthy numbers are not possible, not physiologically possible to have for someone in my condition to go from numbers like 183 or 185 to over 133 to 115 over 70. It's not possible. So you have to use your head and your brain and your detective mind and say, does this make sense? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? And you have to work backwards from the truth. And the truth is that I got chemical poisoning from a toxic drug lab, and I'm sick, and my tests are being forged, and my medical records are being forged, and my doctors are being contacted. If you are wasting your time figuring out how all that is possible, you're wasting your time on the wrong thing. You need to spend your time on getting me the accurate medical records and getting a doctor willing to see me, and a doctor take my blood work and my labs and my EKG with accurate testing, and that's going to debunk the 8 months worth of lies that have been occurring from doctor after doctor. The county lied, the town lied. I put in a notice, so we still are allowed to sue them. They will settle this case, and Kelly will go to jail. That's how simple that is. And why do I need your help? Because she's interfering with my ability to do this on my own by blocking me from accessing certain people. She even had my email blocked from Teresa Kenny, who is the one helping me obtain breathing medications. When I opened new emails, they didn't reach her. So I don't know what that means specifically in reality, but I need someone who knows her directly to speak to her directly to know what's happening. And there is a court docket from a case that I started on my own without representation, where I asked to be moved to a different location housing unit, and it was denied under certain stupid rules, where I said they owed me access to disability accommodation or something. I think it's called reasonable accommodation, and they claimed they didn't owe me or whatever, and that's how it was ruled upon. That doesn't mean this case is not going to win. That just means that specific request was ruled upon and denied, and that's it. That's it. Nothing else. I did not sue them for my injuries. I did not sue them for leaving me in danger. I asked to be moved to another location as an emergency order, and that was it. That's it. So any attorney who wants to go read through that docket, please go ahead. And I made sure to write it very clear with a lot of detail, because I know that whoever's going to help me is going to reference it, look through it, read it, because it will help them understand the full picture. There's a lot of documents there, and there's a lot of information, and it's very thorough and very detailed, and it's all correct from me. You will find lies in the filings of the defendant. You will also see that the judge's orders are kind of weird. Okay? This judge used to be on the board for the Legal Aid Society. I put it all in there. And I do believe that there's been influence from the defendant to the judge that can be reviewed by the Office of Misconduct. I did file complaints with the Office of Misconduct. It is believed that Kelly has contacted them with the same ways she's threatening doctors and police departments and other people to listen to her blindly. I don't know if they went into research this complaint. Okay? Maybe they did, but maybe they didn't. Which doesn't mean that another judge is not going to find favor in my case, because my case is all in my favor, right? She will try her best, if she's able to, maybe to forge more tests and to see if she could convince people things. And all you have to do is say no. You don't have to give her permission over your mind to let her convince you how to behave and what to do. And as soon as those lies start coming out and the truth is seen, judges will have to follow the law, and the case will be won in my favor. I don't even think this case will go to court. I think this will be settled out of court. That's my opinion. So please watch my video. Please attach the link to your friends that are doctors and attorneys. Those doctors have my permission to go into my medical chart and access my true medical records and provide it to any attorney that you know that wants to look at it. And they can comb through it and they'll be horrified with the lies that they see. And once they're ready and confident to say they know my case is such a high value, and they're going to be willing to have a doctor, their doctor, or any doctor, to take my blood pressure and my vitals and my EKG and give me accurate test results and not be threatened and fall for the trap of the scam of saying that they're in danger if they help me. So many people overlooked it. There must be a reason. There must be somebody that's going to come shoot you, or there must be something. That's not true. And even though I'm telling you that that's not true, you still might believe her because her words are just that persuasive. But to prove to you that it's not true is some doctors already did treat me a little bit. They gave me some breathing medications. And those doctors did not get harassed by any mafia. As a matter of fact, the only thing that happened is one of them is stepping down from her position, as far as I know. So that's all that has to happen, and it's very easy. And if you come and ask me questions, well, how is this true? How is this true? Why don't you go to another doctor? Why don't you go to another state? I will just say to you, you're weak. You're representing the defendant. You don't want to win this case. You don't want the money. I'm offering high value monetary reward to anyone who can help keep me alive by getting me a doctor and an attorney. This case will settle fast, most likely. And if you can't do that because you're too weak, because you listen to false threats and you ask questions on her behalf, like, oh, well, it's not possible so many doctors could lie. Well, it actually is, because that's exactly what happened. So if you think that you are strong to rise above the false threats and understand the narcissistic abuse that's going on, you also have to understand the thought reform of her having people act in ways to follow her blindly like a sheep and lose their ability to think for themselves in their own free will. Teresa Kenny did not lose her ability. She is the Orangetown supervisor and she is an attorney, and she understood that despite whatever this crazy lady's stupid threats are, I need to get medical care. And she was the person calling the doctors. I gave her permission to speak to my doctors. And every time my medicine didn't come through, or doctors were refusing to prescribe, or pharmacies weren't dispensing, I would email her, and within less than an hour, my meds would come through. Every time. Over and over and over. And that's your proof that there's no one behind this. She's an attorney, and she's the town supervisor. You could look her up, and she has logic and makes sense and doesn't fall for these evil, stupid threats of this crazy lady. So do your job. If you're an attorney and you happen to be watching this, use your brain. She has threatened and scared away attorneys. I don't know what she said to them. All I know is that when I went into the office to speak to Sobo and Sobo, the man was shaking. And the lady at the entrance, when I came back, well, I don't know what this box is on my page, but the lady, she's like, oh, so how'd it go? I was like, oh, that man's too scared. And I didn't know what he's scared of. All I could tell was he's scared. So if you're scared, don't contact me. I guess you don't want the money and you don't want to help me stay alive. And I'm not interested in talking to you. If you want to help me, get my medical records through using the HIPAA release forms. Get a doctor that you know to show me the blood work that I had carbon monoxide and chemical poisoning. It's on my chart. And pull my medical chart. It's EHR, electronic health record. You have my full permission to pull all my medical tests. I don't care what it is. You have my full permission to pull all the forgery, all the duplicate charts. And then you show it to an attorney that you know understands this type of fake fear that Kelly has. She works through fake fear. She tries to scare me, tells me that police are going to come arrest me for stupid things and whatever. And it's all not true. It's all police misconduct, and I'm suing for that also. No police officer is allowed to come to my house and arrest me. Period. Any false threats or intimidation of any kind like that is a crime. and is illegal, and those police officers can lose their license, and I can sue for that, and I have to put in another notice for false threats for arrest. So I'll explain that to you when you want to come through. But if she tells you that a police officer is going to arrest you because this mafia gang is blah 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 blah, it is not true. There's no mafia gang. I lived there for over a year. I never saw a mafia gang. The people that lived there were very sweet. They don't want any trouble. The drug lab has been dismantled. The only person getting in trouble is Kelly Kohlbrenner. And all of you are going to lie to me and tell me she didn't contact you. And all of you are the people that she contacted. And only the person that's going to come to me and say, yes, she contacted me, and show me that text message or that phone call, is going to be able to win this lawsuit and help me stay alive. And the rest of you are weak chicken bastards. And you are scared of a false threat, and therefore you're an idiot and you're retarded, because this case is slam dunk right in your face. You can get a check of $500,000 by tomorrow night in your hand, in your bank account, transferred from the escrow or whatever. Probably not literally by tomorrow, probably within under 6 months, if you get me my medical records and new accurate testing and file a settlement offer with the town and the county. There's caps on what the state can give you. There's no cap on what the nonprofit could give you, and there's no cap on Kelly Kohlbrenner's personal assets, only whatever she has, which is probably as much as the drug lab was earning, which is probably a lot of money, and all the other illegal fraud money that she hides in her backyard, and all her other assets that she's trying to hide probably right now, putting them in other places where you can all confiscate all of it. I know this because I dated an attorney, and then we're going to start suing all the doctors. So this case, from a experienced attorney's perspective, will tell you this case is worth probably $40 million because of the suffering that I'm going through every day as my injuries get worse. 8 months of lack of proper medical care, refusal and delay and diversion of medical care. The amount of crimes happening in this story is unimaginable. People are going to settle because they're embarrassed and they're ashamed, and they don't want it on the court docket that their own doctors sent me home when I needed oxygen and told me that I have perfect lungs. It's not possible to have perfect lungs. It's not possible. My business is completely destroyed. That is also probably worth a certain value, but that's not even what I care about. I care about staying alive, getting justice, and getting my family to stop being harassed. She literally, physically tells my family to do things against their nature that are cruel to me, just for the reason that she loves to be cruel. She loves to make you scared. She loves to make you think you could have something and take it away. It's called false hope. These are traits that I studied and I learned about under this type of abuse. And it's all consistent. Every single person that's a narcissist like her is going to do the same things. They're going to give false hope. It won't be the same detail of the story of the false hope, but they will make you have false hope for something that you think you want or you have, and they'll make you believe you're going to get it, and then you're not going to get it, and they're going to say, ha, 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 ha. And then they're going to feel good that they fucked up your head and made you want something and worry. They want to see you fall apart psychologically. They want to see you get destroyed internally. They want to see you suffer. Because I learned this, her tricks don't work on me. I am suffering medical injuries. I am, and it's definitely not fun. Okay? But every single time she tells someone to smoke in my face because it pleasures her to see me choke or have a hard time breathing, that cruelty of that level, all those people are going to come forward and testify. And I know who a lot of them are, because every day she harasses me. She tells people to smoke in my presence because she knows it makes my condition worse. And she enjoys it. And so I started printing out these papers, and I can show you right now. I printed out 150 of these papers. So when people smoke in my face, all I have to tell them is, excuse me, by the way, I have a breathing problem. It's called COPD. When you smoke in my face, it makes it hard for me to breathe, and it makes my lung disease worse. And all of a sudden they say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And I tell them, this is my story. Scan the barcode and read about it. And they all apologize, because none of these people are cruel. None of them would ever take a person who's sick and then go and smoke in their face. None of them would do it. They don't know why they do it. They do it blindly because a crazy, wacko, delusional lady comes over to them and says, smoke a cigarette now, I'm going to give you one, and gives it to them. Okay? And it gives her pleasure to feel that power that she's still hurting me. It is hurting my health. That is very true. It's not hurting me mentally. It just makes me see how stupid and desperate she is for that power of knowing that she feels like, oh, I told this fire truck to chase Sephora's car. Not literally chase my car, but sometimes, because I'm traumatized from the fire trucks, which I'm not physically really traumatized. I'm more disgusted and horrified that firefighters would listen to a narcissist. But I do believe firefighters are here to save us, and they're wonderful people, and they're heroes, and they're saviors. I don't believe they're bad. But she gets a thrill out of sending fire trucks down the road after my vehicle or whatever, other side of the vehicle, whatever, just because she likes it. So every time she does that, I say, yes! She still feels the need to think she's in charge and be this pathetic, stupid lady that is hungry for power over Sephora, and not only over me, over you. Because you all fall for her. All of you who come to me and say, just get another doctor in another state. I did that. I've been doing this for 8 months. It took me this long to fully understand what she's doing and this harm that she's causing me and the way she's doing it. If you tell me, just get another phone, then I already know that she spoke to you and that you're advocating for her. So don't bother. I'll just tell you you're weak. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because I don't have more energy to come around and start telling you about narcissistic abuse and whatever. Because you're still going to say, nope, she never called me. Nope, not me. Oh, nobody called me. If anybody called me, I'll just say, fuck you. Every single one of you that tells me that has been contacted by her and is lying to me. Not because they want to lie, because that is the characteristic of this type of abuse, and that's the trait, and that's the factual, proven data of how this abuse works. That when she comes and targets you, you are going to lie on her behalf. That's this form of abuse. Study it. I don't remember all the names of what they call it, but it's basically similar to how cult leaders control their group of people, where they get you to blindly follow them, listen to them, snitch on others and report to them to make the others want to follow them. These are how cults thrive. And this is what she's doing. She's trying to ruin my friendships. She's trying to take things that I say and go to tell people things to make them think that I think badly of them, which is not true. I love all my friends. You're all amazing. You're all wonderful. Sometimes I say things that are my opinions or my thoughts or whatever, and because she hacked my phone, she listens to what I say and she goes and repeats it to people to harm my relationships because it gives her power. She wants to isolate me. I don't need your support to say, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't need your moral support. I need you to get a doctor and an attorney to get my medical records. And if you say, no, I can't, or this or that, then you're not going to help me. Then fuck you. Then go on with your life, do your jobs and do whatever, and you won't get the money. And not only that, you won't save my life, which I think is more important than the money. But if you actually want to know what it feels like to get $500,000 transferred into your bank account in a week, think about that. Think about that right now. $500,000 transferred into your bank account, and all you have to do is not listen to a pathetic lady that lies and debunk her lie with me and not be scared. And you're not gonna do it. You know why? You're too weak. That's why you're not gonna do it. The only people that are gonna do it are the people that are strong, and they're gonna stand up and say, wow, Sephora is right. I really want to help Sephora get medical care. Her heart is failing. Half my heart is not pumping blood through my body. I'm not getting enough oxygen to my organs. I'm having shortness of breath after using the strongest inhalers available for COPD multiple times a day. And I'm on like 3 oral medications, which all of these medications, Kelly made it so difficult for me to get. I only got it because of the town supervisor, like I said, that she wants me to have it. And if this was all a sneaky cover-up, that doctors, if she tells doctors, don't treat her because there's a police behind her and there's someone that doesn't want her to get care, they can debunk that by saying, wait a minute, this doctor and this doctor and this doctor already prescribed her some breathing meds, so that can't be true. And Teresa Kenny is on my medical chart, that's someone that's allowed to speak to my doctors, and she is the town supervisor, and she is more powerful than the stupid police officer that lied. She's higher authority than him. So that's what's going on. If it's too hard for you, then don't do it. I'm not angry at you. I just think you're weak, and I just think you're stupid, and I think that you're falling for a scam, and I think that you don't understand the value of my case, and I think that you're willing to advocate for a criminal, and that if this was on a larger scale and there was hundreds of people and this was World War II, I'm just giving an extreme example, and there was a cruel, evil person trying to hurt all your family and friends and people, would you stand up for them? Are you the one that's going to follow the abuser and the dictator and hurt the innocent victims? Or are you the one that's going to take in innocent victims into your home to protect them from evil, cruel regime? Or during like war time, there was people that took in people into their homes and they hid them so they weren't killed. Okay? You don't have to do that. You don't have to hide me in your home. You don't have to worry about evil wars. You don't have to worry about that. There's no war here. You don't have to hide me anywhere. All you have to do is get a medical doctor to go into my medical chart and pull the records with my permission. Show them this video. Let them know I'm going to give you the strength because I know I'm right. And if you say to me, well, how do you know you're right? I know I'm right because I'm still sick and because I was exposed to toxic chemicals. And people told me that it was, but the reports are falsified. You know who told me that it was a drug lab aside for the police officer that initially said that? You know who else? The hazmat team. There's a hazmat team in Rockland County. They came off duty because I begged a friend, send somebody in there to smell this. Because I didn't know what it was. The hazmat team, three adults from the hazmat team, off duty, came to the building and said it's a drug lab. And I have that on a video recording. But the formal reports that I don't have right now because I didn't foil them because I don't care. I don't need to see more lies. It doesn't benefit me in any way. Will likely say that the building was cleared as safe. So you're going to have to get an expert in these things that knows protocols and procedure, evacuation procedure, other requirements, and find the slip-ups. I didn't ask for the documentation from the FOIL records and stuff because I have enough things to worry about with my medical records and my medical care. I probably should have asked for it, because all the things they're going to write, they're going to change it. As they see that we're finding the slip-ups and the lies, they're going to start forging and changing more lies and more lies. Because lies always change. The truth always remains the same. But that doesn't matter. I didn't have the energy to request 500 papers from the health department of all their inspections that are all lies. I don't need to read it. I don't care about your lies. They're all lies. The health department does have the proof that had carbon monoxide poisoning, because it's a public safety hazard and they get notified immediately. So are you weak and you're going to let people that you love just die because you're so weak? Because you're threatened by a stupid, pathetic lady that has no power? Look her up. Look up her name, Kelly Kohlbrenner. She's a housing lady. She's not mafia. She's not police. She had a few police officers lie on her behalf. And those police officers are not proud of it. She could have told them something even to scare them. You're going to say, well, how's it true? It's true. It's possible. She could have made up a whole big lie. She's so good at her lie. Her imagination is wonderful. I'm so jealous of her beautiful imagination. She could write storybooks that will just blow you away. But she could have said anything. I don't want to give ideas, because she takes my ideas and implements them. So use your own imagination of what kind of lies she could have come up with to tell individual police officers to cover up a drug lab. Use your own imagination. Or, without an imagination, maybe they benefit from the sales. Individuals. Orangetown does not benefit from the drug sales. I went into Orangetown Police Department. I spoke to one of the police officers who originally threatened to arrest me if I attempt to speak to the town supervisor again, which, by the way, it's all BS. They can't arrest me. It's all fake. They don't even know what they're saying. A crazy lady came and told them to do that, and people act blindly when these types of people with this power of coercion, persuasion, manipulation, and mind control tell them to do things. They do it. How do I know? Because all of you do it. All of you lie to me. All of you say, nobody contacted me. Nobody told me this. Oh, I want to meet this lady. Half of you probably met her already. She comes to your house and tells you what to say to me. You're fools. You're fools, because you can have in your bank account $500,000 in your bank account in like less than 6 months. All of you work so hard at your jobs. You toil in your jobs and your careers. This, you don't have to work hard. You just need to get my test, and nothing will happen to you. Nothing. Your family will be fine. You will be fine. No police is going to come. No mafia is going to come. The only thing that's happening is going to be a stupid lady going to tell you false threats. All you have to do, block. Not only that, you have to take those threats to the police station and say that you were threatened by a crazy lady not to help Zipporah Miller. You take those threats, because those threats can be also used as some type of criminal charge. I don't know exactly what it falls under, but I'm sure that they'll figure that out. And they'll take those threats and they'll charge her and arrest her. And she'll be out of your way in no time. And you can go ahead and continue helping me, and you'll save my life, which is very nice of you. Thank you. And you'll also get a huge financial reward quickly. And then we're going to sue the other people, and then I'll give you another $500,000. Okay? I'll give you $1 million. Okay? You're going to get it in less than a year. Almost positive. You're going to get it right away. You don't have to work a year. All of you that have good careers make $100,000, $150,000 a year. That's those of you that have good careers, that have an education and that have corporate jobs or whatever. Some of you that have businesses make $200,000 or make $50,000 or are in debt $30,000. Most of you are probably in debt. Some of you, I don't know. I have student loan in debt, and she tried to take away all my money, so I have like $2,000, but I don't care. My value is not what's in my bank account. My value is what's here, how I think, what I'm capable of. And I happen to be worth a lot of money because this happened to me. the money doesn't make me my value. My value is every human life is valuable. Every human life is valuable. And I do intend to do kind things with my money when I have it, access to it in my hand. And some of those kind things are going to benefit you. Even those of you that are too scared to help me, I will still help you. You know why? Because I forgive you, and I'm kind, and I'm good, and I don't believe to hold grudges. And even my family members that are so weak and listening to her, and they're mostly the reason that I haven't gotten care, because they tell her where I go, and right now they allow her to surveillance me, and they report to her what I'm up to, which is the exact criteria and definition of how this form of abuse works, is where the victims that are under her control report to her what I'm doing because they're seeking her approval. And they do this all subconsciously. They don't even know why they're doing it. If you start to question them and ask them, and they start to think for themselves, they don't know why they locked me out of the house. They don't know why they told me not to use the laundry. These are stupid, silly things before they throw me off internet or whatever. Because there's little punishments that Kelly thinks are going to restrict me and strain me and break me and tear me down, hurt me like a punching bag. She wants to punch me and hurt me and tell my parents to be cruel. My parents aren't cruel. They will let a stranger in the house sleep over for a week. They will let the beggar in the house do the laundry. They will let a stranger come and sit down and use the internet to do their computer work. You know that. All of you do that. Almost all of you would allow that. Almost all of you would let me come over and use your washing machine. Right? Almost all of you would let. So the behavior that's happening right now it's actually hurting them more than me. It hurts them because they're not evil people. And someone's telling them to behave in a way that's against their nature. It's hurting them to hurt me. They don't want to. They don't mean it. They're going to feel they're going to cry and repent to God. I can't believe I didn't let Sephora have the convenience of walking 12 feet into the house to use our washing machine, because I'm locked out of their house right now. I've been locked out for I don't know how long. But not that I have nothing to be grateful for. I'm still allowed to stay in the apartment downstairs, and I'm very grateful for that. Of course I am. But they were also told not to help me financially, to help me keep my business on the ground. She's trying to close my business so I can't pay the rent. She's trying to squeeze me financially so I have no sources of income. My family would 100% help me under any condition, no matter what, under normal circumstances, in any way they could. They for sure want me to maintain my business. My rent is cheap. It's like $1,000 something. It's nothing. Okay? I built up this business for 6 years. Now I'm just supposed to just throw it away? You know? And if I throw it away, my case is worth more money. So if she wants to do that, I'm not going to fight. All right. So you want me to lose my business too? You want me to lose my livelihood? You want me to lose my health? You want me to lose my relationships with my friends? You want me to lose my family? You want me to lose my ability to earn money? You want me to lose my benefits for health insurance? All those things add up and make my case worth more. And I am going to win this case. Some of you might go home and be like, well, let me see if I can help Sephora. And then you're going to call me or contact me, which I advise you not to. And she's going to immediately call you, and you're immediately going to stand back and flip like a hamburger. Your head is going to flip. Your brain's going to flip. You're going to lose your ability to think for yourself, and you're going to become a victim of her cultic abuse. That's how cults work. She has the characteristics of a cult leader. She can form a cult if she wants to. This is actually a cult. It's called cultic abuse and cultic behavior. You can have a one-on-one cult. Go learn about it. Cult doesn't mean there has to be 300 people or 1,000 people, whatever. But there is already at least more than 1,000, 2,000. I have a lot of contacts. She's contacted almost all of you. Maybe not on Instagram, because I just got back into my Instagram account, so I had to switch my phone. But she's gone through my phone contacts. She's gone through my Facebook contacts. She's asked people to try to hurt me, to try to harass me by saying things to say things to hurt me. Sometimes she realizes that doesn't work, so then she tries to tell them to be nice to me. She can't figure out how to break me apart, so she's trying everything. Then she tells my family to tell me that I'm crazy, which they stopped doing now because they realize that maybe I'm not crazy. Then she tells my neighbors and other people to try to do things that she thinks might like hurt me mentally or torment me or whatever. Or she acts so impulsive and silly, out of control, that she calls the fire station and tells them to dispatch fire trucks to follow me down the street, and then they go right back to the fire station. So and so she plays this silly game. So this is not just about a lawsuit. This is about her cruelty. I had an infection in my throat. I didn't know what it was. It might have been strep throat, but I couldn't get the accurate test results because they forged the labs. She tells them to. And they listen to her, just like you are listening to her and telling me, nobody contacted me. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, they did. Look on your phone. Look on your phone. Somebody contacted you. And they told you to tell me nobody contacted you. Wake up. Are you stupid? Because of one comment that you're going to tell me nobody contacted you, you're going to throw away $500,000? You work so hard every day. You wake up early. You study. You work. You went to school. Or you built a business. Or you don't work hard. You stay home as a single mom and you're struggling and you can barely put food on the table. And your ex-husband's a dickhead. And you have $30,000 in debt from court fees. And you're still too scared. You're an idiot. So take that phone message that she messaged you. And I know she did. And don't say, nobody contacted me, and then say, oh, I have no money to feed my kids and to pay for my kids to go to summer camp. Well, you want the money? All you have to do is send me that text message. Go to your police station. Not all of you live in Rockland County, New York. Go to your police station and say, this lady in court with Zipporah Miller, because I am technically in court with them for not putting me to safer housing, is the defendant in the case of her breathing problems. She can't get medical care. And the doctors are discharging her. And the lady harassing her is telling me also to harass her, to tell her she's crazy, to tell her to go to psych wards, to tell her she's schizophrenic. Not only that, they're telling me to lie to her and say nobody contacted me. And not only that, all the other lies she tells you. Oh, there's a police, a mafia, a FBI. Oh, I'm from the government. No, you're not. You're from a stupid housing program. You're a stupid lady in your 60s that you have nothing else to do with your life other than exercise your power and control over innocent victims that she's hurting. Not just me. She's hurting my family. She's hurting other people in this resident housing program. She's getting people sick as we speak that live in that housing building. As we speak, people are breathing the chemicals from the building because the building has not been remediated. So if you're sitting at home on your couch right now as a lazy motherfucker because you can't keep a job together, because you are too much all over the place, or because you don't know how to start a business, or because you never went to school, or you dropped out of school because you have ADHD, or because you have kids home and you can't manage figuring out how to balance a job and work and whatever, and you can't pay your rent, or your rent is tight, or whatever, and a lot of you are in that situation, or you have medical bills, or you have family members that need help, or you're trying to marry off your daughter and you need $10,000, or you're just trying to send your kids to summer camps, which is probably halfway through the summer, or you want to go on vacation, or you want to grow your bank account assets so you can invest more money in your properties down in Florida. But you are choosing to wake up 6 a.m. every day, schlep yourself into the city in the rainy winter cold days, not see your kids because you come home so late, so tired, and then you have to go do exercise at the gym or go pray or whatever it is if you're religious. You come home 7 p.m., you eat dinner for half an hour, and you run out of the house to pray. I know what that is. I know what that is. I come from parents of hardworking parents. I know what that is, to leave 6 in the morning to get into Manhattan, and then you barely make $100,000 a year to pay for your kids to go to school, so you walk around with 5-year-old stained t-shirts because you don't want to buy yourself new t-shirt because you need to pay for your kids to go to school. And all you have to do is make one phone call to your friend who's a lawyer or a doctor. And all of you so far are chicken. You're going to tell me, well, how come I can't do it? I did. I tried. She follows me. She harassed my phone. She threatens the lawyers just like she threatens you. And I don't really want to explain it all again to you. So if you come and you say, Sephora, I want to help you, I'll take you to a doctor. I'll say no. No doctor's going to treat me while she's still involved until they understand this whole story I just told you. I know I said I was going to make it short, but I guess I don't know how to make a short story. I'll try again. But that's it. If you are an attorney and you're watching, and I know people that are attorneys, you still have to pay back your loans from school, probably. And even if you're a doctor, you have $200,000 in student loans. Life's not easy even for successful people financially. Life's not easy. You still have bills. You have to pay off your kids' college tuition, or you're paying off somebody else in your family, whatever. So think about this right now. I'm you, you're me. You have a friend that is having heart failure, heart disease, carbon monoxide poisoning, is worth a lot of money, but no lawyer's taking her case because the defendant is making stupid, silly threats that they're actually listening to. And I'm you right now, and I'm like, oh no, I can't afford to go on vacation. I want to go to Bermuda or Croatia, but I can't take off time now, and then my kids might need extra money for this or that, or this holiday is coming up, we need to do whatever, my mortgage is, I don't know, whatever it is. Okay, so you're stupid. You know why? Because you could solve that problem very easily. My case is worth a lot of money, and you should be fighting who's going to help me first, because you're all stupid, because you're all scared of the lady that's telling you, oh no, police didn't help her, so it must be dangerous. No, it's not. There's nothing dangerous. Town supervisor can confirm that for you. You can call her up and say, is it true that the town allows a drug lab in Pearl River and keeps residential people in a state-funded housing program in danger, and they allow it? No, they don't. They don't allow it. They don't allow it. And this is not only about me. There's people that still live there that are going to come forward. They're going to see that I win money. They're going to come forward. And you don't think this is a good enough reason for the defendant to not follow me all day or try to prevent me from getting care? It absolutely is. And if you're going to tell me, oh, nobody's going to follow you all day or talk to your doctors, really? Well, if you were the person that was going to lose your career, lose all your assets, lose your money, lose your job, and go to jail, you would also follow the person the whole day. You would. So it absolutely makes sense that she's trying to interfere. And she's stupid for trying to interfere with my medical care in addition to everything else, because if I got medical care, the case could settle faster. My injuries wouldn't be as bad, but my injuries are worse and worse every day as we speak right now. My injuries are getting worse as we're speaking. And the psychological harm alone, if you're an attorney, you know that sometimes that's even worth more than the physical injuries. You know that? In my case, my physical injuries are very serious. If I need a stent in my heart, which I likely do, and I probably need a valve in my lower lungs to keep the air flowing. These are very serious injuries. These are vital organ injuries. I'm 38 years old. I have no health problems prior. These injuries are going to affect the rest of my life, of my daily living. They already do. I carry around a nebulizer with me. I qualify for oxygen, which means that I might have to walk around carrying that stupid oxygen tank with me just to go shopping or to go to amusement park or to go anywhere I want. I probably can't do swimming because it takes a lot of energy breathing. I probably can't do most aerobic activities. Maybe once I get the full treatment that I need, maybe I will be able to get better, more activity, exercising or whatever. But and not only that, I worry every day, like which doctor is going to send me medicine, how am I going to get this from the pharmacy. I mean, the interference doesn't stop. It's a daily cycle of drama, calling people. She threw me off health insurance right now. I'm still trying to get that for 2 months. I have a different health insurance, the secondary one, it's Medicaid. But these games, so silly games. So if you don't need money right now, but you have a dream to open up your own nonprofit or your own charity or whatever, then you can do it. All you have to do is tell a doctor to pull my medical chart, Sephora Miller. My birth date is 9/24/87. I have a link in my bio that has a page with my information. And show this to the attorney. Show this video. And a straight attorney who understands the law and is logical and sees the financial value, which there is, and understands that all these threats are stupid, empty lies, will take the case. And then they'll call me. And guess what? Immediately after they call me, she's going to call them. And guess what? Most of them will be scared. How do I know? It already happened about 30 times. And most of them are going to lose out and be stupid and lose this case because they won't even take the case. They're going to lose it before they even take it. They didn't even try. You want to try? Take 2 hours of your time. Write one letter to the town, one letter to the county, pull my x-ray and my COPD diagnosis. Forget about the heart failure. And there you go. You already could get 1 million from that. Just that. 2 hours. You didn't even try. You already say, oh, you don't have a case. Really? You didn't even try. So get your brain together. I'm posting this because I want you to understand exactly what's happening. I've made attempts to help myself in many ways, multiple times, to the best of my ability, and I think I've made pretty good attempts, and I'm proud of myself, and I think my family's proud of me too. And I still have not been able to receive complete medical care. And Kelly's going to be pissed. She doesn't like these videos that I post. She's going to tell you, don't listen to Sephora. Tell Sephora she has to go to psych wards and whatnot. Whatever. Tell me as much as you want. Then you're just weak also. If you want to be weak, that's your decision. Then you can go schlep every day to Manhattan, 6 a.m. in the cold winter with your bundled up coat and freezing cold, and you don't know how to pack your lunch because you're in a rush getting your kids off to school, and you're coming in tired, 6 a.m. leaving the house, and you're sitting in the office all day, and it's stuffy, and there's no air, and your phone calls all day long, stress on your head, money all over the place, problems with your marriage or whatnot. Hopefully not. Hopefully your marriage is beautiful. But all I'm saying is, and then you're coming home at 6 p.m. because there's traffic on the bus, and you're coming home with your suitcase, and you're unpacking your stuff, and you're just like, oh my God, this is day in, day out, day in, day out. This is going on for 25 years, and it's going to continue because you're too scared. You're too scared. And guess what? Maybe you do very well, but you lost money because of COVID or something else happened to you. All you got to do is call a doctor, get my medical records. I gave you my birthday. I put a HIPAA release form. You can get my x-ray, prove the fraud, and get Kelly into jail, and then nobody's going to care. Everybody's going to take my lawsuit. Any lawyer is going to take my lawsuit immediately, but they haven't yet because they're too scared. And because the first one who's going to do it is going to get Kelly arrested and put in jail, and she's going to threaten you. She's going to give you the scariest threats, and you might believe her because you don't have any clue that it's all fake. You have to rise above, and you have to say that her threats are fake. And none of you that tell me, nobody contacted me, is able to do it because you're too weak. The only one that's going to do it is the person that's going to tell me the truth. Yes, somebody contacted me. This is what she told me. And this is the proof. And I'm going to the police station, filing that she's harassing you and getting her charged. And the minute that happens, I'll get medical care the next morning. That's it. So simple. And I know she contacted you. And she made you so scared that you're even scared to tell me, and that you even tell me a lie. You even tell me a lie and swear on a person in your family that you love, which makes you look even worse to me, because I'm like, oh my God, he is so far gone that he's going to lie and say over somebody's family. That's how much she persuaded him, how dangerous, how scared. That's how scared that person is to help me and to realize that it's all a lie. And what she's doing is psychological abuse. It's false fear through a false sense of authority. These are not concepts that I made up. These are proven studies, confirmed, written concepts in psychology based on coercion, manipulation, thought reform, mind control, and persuasion. And she uses all those tactics on you. She probably does other stuff too. She probably does like stupid hypnosis tactics. I don't know what she says to you. All I know that whatever she says to you is making you all chicken and scared. You are choosing to go to Manhattan 6 a.m. every morning if you're a male, even female, but a lot of females that I know might be home with children. So you are choosing to stay home with your children, struggling because you can't afford a nanny to do your laundry. So you do the laundry yourself, and you're washing your dishes while this one's screaming and that one's jumping off the couch, and this one needs help with homework but you can't afford a tutor, and that one's trying to go to soccer practice but nobody's available to drive because your husband's still in the city until 7:30 and he can't drive. When he gets home, it's too late, the game's over, you don't know what to do, your kid can't play soccer. Well, guess what? You just have to send in the letter to the attorney, send them my link, and your problem is solved. You solve my problem too because I get to stay alive, but your problem is solved too. But you're too scared. You're too scared because you're listening to a liar. You don't realize she's a liar. She's such a good liar, she convinces you to lie to me. And I'm your friend. And she's convincing you to lie to me enough that you know that I might die from heart failure. God is keeping me alive. I believe God's keeping me alive and resilient to get this woman put into jail. That's what I believe. That's my firm belief. There's no reason that I was able to survive this medically. Clinically, I should have been dead. And the fact that she tried so many times to scare me and tell me stupid things, and she would say it to me through other people. It's called a shaliach in Hebrew. Through a messenger. Through a messenger, she would give me threats through messengers to make me scared of things that if you think it out, doesn't make sense, is not true. Look for the truth. Don't just believe people. Look for the truth. If she tells you there's a mafia gang behind this, okay, call your friend who's in law enforcement in whichever city and say, is there really a mafia called blah blah blah? Is it true that they operate in Pearl River in a state-funded housing program? Is it true that one of the girls there was cooking drugs and the police overlooked the matter because this mafia is so dangerous? Go ask. Go find out. You're too lazy, then go continue your job to Manhattan every morning. Go continue struggling with your business partners, trying to get a few customers to pay off all your bills. Then do that. That's your choice. That's fine. You can do that. Or you can take a few seconds of energy and say, well, maybe it's true Sephora is telling the truth. Maybe it's true there's no mafia gangs or police behind this. Let me make a phone call. And you call your friend in politics, and they call up Teresa Kenny from Orangetown, and they say to Teresa Kenny, did you let a drug lab in your town because there's a scary, dangerous mafia gang that's going to shoot my family if I help support get medical care? And she's going to say, what the hell are you talking about? That's what she's going to say. She's going to say you're crazy. She's going to say, you get Sephora Miller medical care immediately. She'll probably be surprised that I'm still alive now because my condition is very serious and she knows that. But I am going to remain alive, and I'm going to evade every single one of Kelly's stupid traps and tricks and threats and funny games, because you know how I know? Because I already have. And I already debunked all her funny tricks and games and silly things she's trying to do, and telling my friends the most retarded things. And they tell me those things and then say, but nobody called me. And then I just say, forget it. Because I'm not going to sit here and convince you that you're an idiot because you can't stand up against someone with no power who's telling you to lie to me and tell me, well, if somebody called me, I'll just say, fuck you. Well, no, you won't, because you're not doing it. You're listening to her. And if you wouldn't listen to her, you would already have helped me. And that's the proof. So I hope you understand and you get some strength, like a lion, stand up strong. There's not even anything to be strong about here. It's just common sense. It's not like you're not fighting a war. It's just mental. It's a mental game. She's playing on you and you're falling for the scam because you don't want to win the money. And you don't want to help your friend stay alive because you're listening to her scam. And if you need to verify, if you're unsure, if you're 50-50 right now, you're like, wait a minute, maybe I do want to get $500,000 in my bank account in 6 months. I'm tired of selling houses, real estate, running around doing showings every day from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. I have to get dressed up and run around town and show houses so I could sell one house to pay my month rent or pay off your mortgage. If you're not sure, you're starting to wonder, go find out. The 5 minutes that it takes to find out, equivalent to the amount of hours that you put into your daily jobs, tasks to earn a living, okay? It's going to take 5 minutes of effort to make one phone call and ask one person who's a doctor to go into my medical chart and find out if Zipporah Miller really got chemical poisoning in a drug lab in Pearl River. And if they can get my medical records. And there will be lies on my chart. And they're all lies. There will be duplicate charts in my name. And then what they're going to do, this doctor is going to order me a new x-ray, a new labs, new tests. And guess what? Kelly's going to call them and tell them to forge the test results. And you know what you do? You take that audio that you record, or that text message, will probably be audio, she'll probably call you. You turn it into authorities. That's medical interference. It's a felony. You take that audio, because you already have the proof that my medical tests were forged and that I had toxic chemical poisoning and carbon monoxide poisoning in a drug lab in Pearl River. And you take that, and this doctor, now that you have the proof, and you found a doctor and a lawyer that's willing to make the money because they understand that there's money in this and there's no stupid threats. It took me this long to understand all these stupid threats. I'm just showing you right now the inhalers that I have to walk around with in my purse. And I have to use this insulated bag because of the heat, and it still doesn't keep it good. But after you do that, after you see my chart that says that I had carbon monoxide poisoning and I have a diagnosis of COPD, my x-ray is on that chart. And a medical doctor or anybody in medicine, you don't have to be a doctor, you could be a nurse, you could be an x-ray tech, you could be the guy that does the blood pressure when you walk in. Even they know what a bad x-ray looks like when the heart is humongous, bigger than the whole chest. It's swollen and filled with fluid, and it looks like a blown up balloon. Even the low-level medical staff know that's dangerous. Even they know blood pressure of 190 over 130 is a medical emergency. Even they know. And then this doctor that's going to verify on my chart, wait a minute, Zipporah did have chemical poisoning. She was diagnosed with COPD in Good Samaritan Hospital September 29 or whatever. It's on the chart. It's all on my chart. But there's a duplicate chart. Multiple duplicate charts from multiple hospitals. They're going to see the diagnosis. They're going to see the false x-rays. They're going to be disgusted. They're probably going to throw up. And then they're going to see the real x-rays. And then they're going to be horrified and be unbelievable that I'm still alive. And they're going to say, oh my God, this is a medical emergency. And they're going to say, get this girl into the emergency room. And I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to do it until you're going to get me my accurate test results in my hand. You know why? because Kelly will have me followed there, and she will call the ER doctor with the same lies. And probably they'll just discharge me. They've made attempts to throw me into the psych ward, because there she could lock me up, put me away, and say her story's true and my story's a lie. I don't know if she will do that right now or not, because that in itself can be a big lawsuit to falsely put someone into a psych ward that doesn't belong there. Even if I say something and I disagree with the doctor, that doesn't mean I go into a psych ward. I don't have to agree with the doctor. The doctor's allowed to say, your lungs are fine. And I'm allowed to say, no, they're not. You forged the test. And that doesn't mean I go in a psych ward. That means I disagree with the doctor. And then they disagree, and then they can politely, diplomatically, professionally say, well, this is what we think, and then they discharge me. That doesn't mean they have to call the psych ward people to have me fake evaluated with fake tests and put prescriptions for things that are respiratory suppressants for my already struggling lungs. That's what happened in one of the hospitals, and that hospital's going to get sued. You know how? Because one of you is going to say, I'm tired of going to Manhattan every morning, 7 in the morning, in the rain and the cold, and missing out on my summer fun in my backyard pool and barbecues with the kids and seeing the kids at 4 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. So some of you are going to get smart and say, okay, I'm going to just call my neighbor who's a doctor. I'm sure some of you have neighbors or friends or people from your community, synagogue or whatever, that are medical doctors or nurse practitioners or anything. And they're going to say, Sephora Miller needs medical care. Pull her medical chart. Tell me, did she have COPD? Did she have carbon monoxide poisoning? And there's going to be duplicate charts in my name. And they might not find it in the first second. They might have to look, because there's duplicate charts. And they're going to see the lies in my record. Some of the records are going to say that I have perfect lungs. Okay? And some of them are going to say that I have psychological disorders and stuff like that. It's not true. It's not true. And then they're going to take those records and say, oh my God, whoa, this case is worth millions of dollars. Her injuries are very serious. She's been refused care. I think it's over 8 months. It's been September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. It's 10 months. It's 10 months. It's 10 months. I've been begging for medical care for my heart. I have a few breathing medications, which is also proof of the COPD. Every doctor's office that I walked into knew that I had COPD. So it's on the medical chart. And I have the diagnosis on paperwork, documentation. But they won't tell me how they came to the diagnosis and what they based it on. I said, give me the clinical criteria that you use to diagnose me with this disease. They won't give it to me. Okay? But it's there. And I think that they used my x-ray to diagnose me. That's it. All you need is my x-ray. And if you can't find the x-ray or whatever, I mean, you will be able to. But just order another x-ray. That's it. Just order me an x-ray. Even chiropractors are allowed to order x-ray. X-ray costs $70. Lenox Hill Radiology in New City has my x-ray. They have my real x-ray and they have my fake x-ray. The radiologist lied and said I have perfect lungs. They didn't release the real x-ray to me. And that person can lose their license. And Kelly might have told them, oh, no, don't worry. Nobody will find out. No, how will anybody find out? Well, you know how? Because one of you is going to say the truth. One of you is going to be smart. And when you order me the x-ray, whoever you are, Kelly Kohlbrenner is going to know where I am going to get the x-ray, even if it's in your own office, because she does follow my vehicle and my phone tracking GPS. And she will follow my phone if I get a new phone. And she will follow my vehicle if I get a new vehicle. And she will follow a taxi if I take a taxi. She will not give up on wherever I'm going for 24 hours a day. So I don't need you to tell me, oh no, how's it possible? She can't tell the doctor. She will. And guess what she'll tell them? She'll tell them, Don't write the real x-ray. Fake. Forge it. She's a master at forging and fraud. Mastermind. If you want forged money in your pocket, dollar bills, just ask her. She'll print them for you, probably. That's how stupid she is. Just tell her you need some money and she'll print some cash dollar bills for you. I don't know. That's how much she does fraud. She does Medicaid fraud and medical fraud, double billing. She tells them to double bill, these doctors. You'll find it on my chart. When you look on my chart, you'll find it on my chart. And not only that, then that doctor, whoever's going to do the x-ray, is going to be contacted and told to forge or fraud or preset or change something to my x-ray. And you know what you do? You report it. That's what you do. And that's going to debunk 10 months of lies from doctors lying on my medical charts. Not only that, that's going to put her in jail with criminal charges for telling a radiologist or a doctor to forge a medical record for a patient in critical condition. You take that phone call message or that text message and keep it and bring it. If you don't want to bring it yourself, bring it with another person together, the doctor and the radiologist and the secretary who answers the phone. All of you together go, because she will contact all of you. She will contact whoever I walk in to do my blood pressure. She will contact them. She will contact the actual doctor or nurse practitioner or whatever other position of doctors that they can give prescriptions. She will contact, and she will also try to make them scared. And all of you in the office, hopefully I'm not going to have to do this like in a traditional office where I have to go. I'm going to get this done, I believe, by a doctor who sees this case and will literally just be like willing to just have me come to wherever their office is without going through all the steps of the tech and the person, and just come into their office. But if they want me to go through all the steps where you first have the tech take your vitals and document it and blah blah blah, that's just stupid, because Kelly's gonna get more there's more proof of people that Kelly calls to forge my tests. I prefer the doctor does it, and if the doctor does it wrong, they're accountable. They can lose their medical license. Even if Kelly says they won't, they still can, and they will have their whole lifetime to be investigated. It's not for statute of limitation for 3 years medical malpractice if the doctor forges my EKG. It's for the rest of your life. If they ever figure out that you forged my EKG or my labs, you will lose your medical license. Even if they find out in 10 years or 20 years or 25 years, you will still lose it. Okay? That's how much you're willing to risk for a fucking stupid lady who doesn't want me to get medical care. Then you're crazy. Then you should go to a psych ward, because you are crazy. Okay? And you take those records and those tests and you report it to authorities, to the board, to the medical board of where you report to, of your state or wherever, that you report fraud, medical fraud. They know where to report it. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna ask their attorney where to report it. You go report that, and you get her arrested and charged, and then you call me into your office and do accurate tests. And as soon as you have those tests, you already won the case. That's all you need. That's done. That's it. That's how easy this is. Okay? Use your brain. I'm going to stay alive because God is keeping me alive. I survived this long. God's keeping me here. And He wants to see he or she, whatever gender you think God is, because I don't know myself, but God wants to see which one of you is going to stand up and save a life. And also decide that maybe you're not going to work as many hours, 60 hours a week in your little stupid office on the 25th floor in Manhattan skyscraper, because you want a little break to see your kids. Okay? Let me turn this off and see if I could get captions on here.